probably get this a lot, but you played Eric Northman in True Blood. Now you're in The Northman.
Yeah.
So actually, Eric was born in the 900s during the Viking period. So what does it all mean? I mean, is there any connection there? Are they the same character, at least in your head?
The Northman is not. I hate to disappoint fans of True Blood, but it's not a sequel to True Blood. But I do have to say that 10 years ago, so for people who are not familiar with True Blood, my character is a vampire, a Viking vampire, and he was turned from a human to a vampire when he was 1,000 years ago, like I said, in during the Viking Age. And about 10 years ago, we shot a couple of flashback scenes to the Viking Age, in which my character basically to show how he was turned. And I had so much fun those days. We shot it on a soundstage in Hollywood, but to just get that little sample of playing a Viking was thrilling. And at that time, I started thinking, well, what a dream it would be if I could one day make a Viking movie, and not just a short flashback on True Blood. So it actually, in a way, I'm sitting here maybe partly thanks to True Blood, because that's how it started. And then I teamed up with Lars Knudsen, a Danish producer, and started talking about, well, maybe there's a way of, can we figure out a great Viking story so we can make a Viking movie? And then a couple of years after that, I met Robert Eggers, and then that's how it kind of kicked off.
And it came true.
Yeah.
So your performance in The Northman is nothing short of incredible. So powerful and brutal. It must have been challenging. Obviously, I actually read that you wore a single pair of boots throughout the shoot that were constantly repaired as they fell apart. So, you know, there were some takes that were incredibly physically exhausting. So I want to know, how did that experience inform your character and your performance, and how hard was it to endure?
It was by far the most immersive experience I've had on a movie set. We shot it on location. Robert his attention to detail is extraordinary, and he wants everything to be 100% historically accurate. So he would work for several years on building the farm the way a Viking farm would have been constructed. The longships they used the right type of wood from the right region for the longships. The nails would be historically accurate. So Rob worked together with a bunch of Viking historians in trying to make everything feel like when you watch the movie, you're transported back to the Viking Age. And that goes for costumes as well. Linda Muir and the costume designer and Rob did an extraordinary amount of research in finding the right fabrics, the right patterns, and like you said, like the little leather Viking shoes that my character, who's a slave on a Viking farm in Iceland, would have worn. We wore those for the entire shoot, and it's a very physical movie, and they would constantly rip and break. So every night after work, the costume department had to kind of stitch them together and fix them. But as an actor, it's quite wonderful and helpful when you step onto set and you know that the feel of it is historically accurate, and the clothes that you're wearing are 100% historically accurate. It's tremendously helpful.
Anya Taylor-Joy plays Olga in the film. She debuted in The Witch with Robert, and she said recently that how she identifies as a performer comes from her work on that film and her experience with him. Now, you said that Robert's filming process is very particular and presented some challenges to you. So I wanted to know if working with Anya maybe helped you in any way to ease into his vision and into his very personal way of filmmaking.
Rob and I had known, when we started shooting the movie, we'd known each other for 4 or 5 years and worked intimately in putting together the movie. So, and I'd obviously seen The Witch and the Lighthouse, so I knew visually what Rob's and Jared, his cinematographer, I knew their style of filmmaking, and I knew that it would be quite a unique challenge to shoot a big action movie on film with only one camera and every scene is one continuous shot. That's a way I'm not familiar working, and especially not on an action movie, on which you normally have multiple cameras and plenty of cuts in the big fight scenes. It was great that the first 2 weeks of filming, we shot smaller scenes on Fjellner's farm, and together with Anya and the other actors, the other characters on the farm, and I think that was really nice to have. I don't know if it was. I think it was coincidental, but it was great that we didn't start with big, epic fight scenes, because it gave us, or at least it gave me, a couple of weeks to understand how Rob and Jared, how they work, and how that dance between the characters and the camera, how that works.
Yeah.
So to get used to that, so that when we made the more complicated, technically difficult scenes, we'd figure it out. So it was a way of rehearsing and getting into it in a way, and absolutely talking to Anya about the experience on The Witch and that technique of working was tremendously helpful.
Debes elegir entre el bien para los tuyos o el odio para tus enemigos.
Tu fuerza quebranta los huesos de los hombres. Mi ingenio quebranta sus mentes.